The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Hey there, everybody, and welcome to the Happiness Jungle with yours truly, the Chief Happiness Officer, Lyn-Dee Eldridge. And today I am very humbled. I met this gentleman in New York City at an event. You know, you have to invest yourself in order to make sure that you fill yourself around the right circles, the influencers, right? The visionaries of the world. And I had the great opportunity of meeting this gentleman who truly brings out the ultimate wealth about being joyful and happy, and I'm extremely excited because he's going to be sharing with us in the next 30 minutes how he was extremely so successful, right?
Yes.
And he
as the world defines it. Sure.
As the world defines it, and how he wasn't truly happy though. And he's going to share that with you. But what excites me so much about Richard is that he's humbly a visionary who helps people and guides them with their inner belief. So help me welcome today to my TV show, Richard Hunnewell. Hi, Richard.
Thank you, Dee-Dee.
I am excited.
It's my
he
pleasure.
called me Dee-Dee. That's okay.
Lyn-Dee, excuse me.
There you go. Hi, Richard. You know what? When I met you in New York, that was kind of a fluke too, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Huh.
Yes, it was.
And we met because we were at an event together. I was sitting in the front, and then here comes Richard. You could have sat any place else in the room of students because we were students that day. And instead, I got the great pleasure and the blessings for you to sit next to me. And the rest is, as we say, history today in the making.
It is history. You've become a fast friend and a great influencer in my life. And so it was a very serendipitous meeting. I mean, I walked into that meeting, there was one chair left, and it was next to this extraordinary woman.
Huh. And all I had to do was give you a cookie.
All you had to do was give me a cookie. And I'd like to share with your audience something before we begin. I had the great opportunity of spending a one-day road trip with Lyn-Dee Eldridge, which was an extraordinary experience. We hopped into her Lexus SUV with the pink stuffed bunny nose on the front, and we tooted all around Manchester for one day. Yeah. Spreading happiness. Mm-hmm. And it was an incredible experience because you have the ability to light up people. And when people are happy and that genuine, authentic smile comes through, everybody is beautiful, right? And so it was an incredible experience for me. And ever since then, what I wanted to share with you, as I've been thinking about what is the one quality about you that gives you so much power in terms of the projection of energy and joy and happiness. And I think I have found it.
What is it?
I think it is that you have a fearless willingness to share your authentic self with the world and with others. And that's a very, very powerful lesson for me. And maybe we'll talk about that a little bit later as this interview goes on. But
wow. What I recognized about you, Richard, is that you come from a place that you are a very, very hardworking entrepreneur at the very beginning stages of you starting a career that actually grew into a very wealthy entity. You shared with me, though, during that time of your life, that's what I want you to talk about with the audience, because here's what I know for a fact to be, is that there are people in our audience that are going to be able to relate to your story. And I want everybody to realize that it doesn't matter how old you are, you could start being happy at any time. Isn't that true?
That is profoundly true. Happiness is a learned skill.
Share that with us.
And I had to go to hell and back to learn that. My whole life, I have had a passion for success. And I started out very young, extremely ambitious. And somehow I got the message that money equals success. One has to have money, then one will be successful, and then one will be happy. And that's a false narrative. It's just profoundly true.
And you know that for a fact,
And I
don't
know
you?
it for a fact because I started out, okay, if that's the game, I'll play it. And I'll play it better than most people. And I did acquire a fair amount of money. And in the process, I lost my soul, really. The
Wow.
authentic Richard, I lost it. And it wasn't until a major betrayal in my life took place that pulled my heart out of my chest that I realized I had followed everything that the culture had taught me about success. You go out there and you go for what you want. And you know, young men have a lot of testosterone flowing through their veins. And so a lot of men are very ambitious and want to make their mark. And I discovered when I went through that phase of pain and suffering, through tremendous reflection, I discovered that I did it all wrong. I really did. Because you have to be happy first. Being happy first will lead to more success. And more success will lead to all the abundance the world has to offer in terms of money, love, friendships, relationships, inner joy. So I did it backwards, but I never would have discovered that had I not had a very, very intense period of suffering in my life.
What was your turning point? What made you do that switch and go, I've got to figure out the true meaning of happiness? What is that? What was that turning point for you, and how did you start learning the culture?
I believe we all have a choice. Nobody gets through this life without getting really hurt, without suffering. It's different. It happens in different ways for different people, but we all suffer. And so, for whatever reason, I made the choice to figure out, to reflect and figure out what I had done wrong. Many, many people take the other route, which is to become a victim. You know, once you've suffered the slings and arrows of life, many, many people become very cynical, and they give up on their dreams, and they give up on the joy that is available to anybody. For whatever reason, I'm a very, very lucky man. I'm very grateful for it. I said, no, I'm going to find out what I did wrong, and I'm going to find a better way. And so I sold my business.
How old were you when you did this transition?
I was 40 years old.
40 years old.
Fortunately, I had done well enough. I was in a financial position to be able to do nothing. But I learned a very, very, very important thing. There's a myth in the culture that says, boy, if I win the lottery or if I'm financially independent, I'm going to go to the beach and do nothing. Well, that's like going to hell. It's great for 2 years. It's great for a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months. But there's no happiness in that. We are built to overcome challenge. That's where the joy comes from. Nobody has a carefree life with no problems.
Right.
Everybody has problems. And what is important, in my mind, is how do we deal with the suffering and the vicissitudes that come into our life. And so I spent 2 years reading 250 books, getting myself actively involved in personal development, and doing a lot of just sitting and reflecting about life. And it changed my life.
Wow. And then you started to invest in yourself again, but in different kind of seminars. You were involved in an amazing program with Tony Robbins.
Yes, I was.
And that was in
fact,
Orlando,
I've stayed in touch
or
with
West Palm.
I've stayed involved in the personal development field because I so believe in it.
Right.
And it led me to meeting you, actually.
Yeah.
Although that seminar was a business-related seminar.
Right.
Because this is how I've evolved. I really love the fact that if you bring the concepts of personal development into the business world, you can achieve success with far less effort than putting your nose to the grindstone and working hard. So
You talk about the inner game.
to me,
I love the inner game.
To me, the inner game is absolutely 80% of success in life. We all are born with, in my opinion, the birthright for success. It's our birthright. we come out of the womb, and the first thing we do is we want, and we reach, and we grab. And then somewhere along the line, because of course in a civilized society we have to teach people control,
Right.
and so our parents say no, and that no gets ingrained in us, and then we go to school, and then we hear lots of no's. You must be regimented, you must think this way, and it takes the quest for success right out of us. And so then we become fundamentally concerned about looking good. And once again, that's a false narrative. That's why I say to you that the big quality I see in you that's going to enable you to really have a huge impact on this world is that you're fearless about your authenticity, your authentic self. You're willing to give it to the world. So where were they? That was my path. And I realized that the key to success is to win the inner game first. And by the inner game, I mean the way that we think and believe. And we have complete control over that. Many of us don't think that we do.
Right.
Right? You can hear it in the language of people. Oh, I can't help feeling that way.
Sure.
That's BS. You absolutely can condition your mind
Absolutely.
to control your thoughts such that you only think thoughts that are empowering to you or that serve you. Right? And you mentioned Tony Robbins. Yes, I took this seminar in Florida, and I've done a lot of personal growth work. And the reason I signed up for it is that one of the things that I do now that I've been retired since I was 40, is that I love to mentor young entrepreneurs and teach them
I have goosebumps. That was that right there. Just
I love to teach them what I learned through the school of hard knocks so that they don't make the same mistakes. And so I have some wonderful, wonderful people that are very ambitious that are going to change the world that I mentor. One of them is a young woman in Florida. And she told me that she was signed up for Tony Robbins. Would you like to come with me? And I thought to myself, oh, gee, I have done so much personal growth work. I don't want to do this. But I did do it. I did it because of her, because of the relationship that we have. Well, I can categorically tell you it was the most profound experience in my life. And so the lesson is never prejudge, be open in life to whatever you can learn. And the reason I'm sharing all of this is because that's Tony Robbins' big stick. He conditions his mind for absolute unstoppable success. And what's fascinating to me is that's available to anybody. We do have control over our mind.
absolutely have control.
And it's really a very easy principle, but it requires great rigor. You have to reprogram. It's almost like one of the analogies that I use is that we've all been given this incredible brain that sits on the top of our shoulders. And it's like giving a teenager a Ferrari, right? As a matter of fact, it's really, the brain is so powerful, it's like giving a Saturn V rocket to everybody without an owner's manual, right? And that rocket can take us to the stars. It can take us to manifest all of our dreams. That power is in every single human being on this planet. And the difference between the billionaire and the bum on the street is the billionaire has either learned or unconsciously they operate that powerful Saturn V rocket in a way that leads to success. It's a science.
It's a science.
It's a science.
Yeah.
And
Greatest
so
gift.
that's what I mean by the inner game. You've got to win the inner game first. Because Shakespeare said, our doubts are traitors that make us lose the good we might oft win by fearing to attempt. That is profoundly true. We all have this voice that says, I can't. I'm not good enough. Right? And it's BS. It's BS. You can't override that. You have that kind of power.
So we talk about the greatest gift. What's the greatest gift to you?
Well, let me ask.
does that mean?
Well, let me ask you. Let me turn it around first. I will answer that.
Yes.
What's your greatest gift?
My greatest gift is that I have mentors that I look up to that are willing to look at me in my eyes and be authentic and say, Lyn-Dee, I love what you're doing. Would you allow me to help you grow? would you allow me to give you corrective criticism? And my answer is always yes. The greatest gift is being open to the suggestions of being better.
Wow. That's a beautiful, beautiful answer.
Yeah.
A beautiful way of looking at
Thank
it,
you.
and a very evolved and higher consciousness way of looking at it. Now, you asked me. For
Yes.
me, my greatest gift, and I really believe that's the greatest potential gift for everybody, is our biggest suffering. It's our biggest hurt, our biggest pain, our biggest failure. That's our biggest gift, if we choose. And I can say that with great confidence, because there are innumerable examples of people. I'll give you one. Christopher Reeves. He played Superman, and he was an equestrian, and he fell from a horse, broke his neck, and spent the rest of his life as a paraplegic, eating out of a straw. Well, I saw an interview with him once, and the interviewer asked him, "How does it feel to be Superman and be in this condition?" And he said to him, "It's the best thing that ever happened to me." The interviewer went berserk. How can that be? How can that be? Look at you. You were Superman. You're a paraplegic. And Christopher Lee, without blinking an eye, looked at him right in the eye, and he said, "Let me tell you something. I know more about what's important in life than you will ever know." Well, in light of the background that I have shared, that was very inspiring to me. And it proved to me that it's not what happens to us. It's how we respond to what happens to us. And if a man who's paraplegic, drinking through a straw, can be happy, and he was happy, his wife stayed with him, right? Think about that. His wife was
Yes.
a beautiful woman. She
Yes.
stayed with him and took care of him. He obviously had an inner strength, an inner quality that was incredibly appealing. Now, obviously, he didn't want that to happen,
Of course.
but suffering happens to everybody. So the Buddhists, their answer is accept it. What I say is embrace our suffering, because our suffering always has something to learn that can contribute to our future growth and success.
I love that. This morning I was thinking about rejection and how fabulous rejection can be. Because without rejection, how are you ever able to grow? You're always going to do the same thing. And if nobody tells you that that's not acceptable, you'll keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting change. Isn't that the definition of insanity?
It is.
You know?
Yeah.
So you bring such phenomenal value. I know that there's our audience out there that's going to get interactive today. After you hear Richard, and you're going to take a whole different light. I don't care how old you are. It's never, ever, ever, you're never too young and you're never too old to change. Never. One of the...
I would second that. And
Go ahead.
believe me, given my journey
Yeah.
from being miserably unhappy to finding joy in life, if I can do it, anybody can do it, believe me.
Isn't that
There's
great?
nothing special about me. In fact, my favorite saying is that there really are no extraordinary people in the world. It's just ordinary people doing extraordinary things.
Beautifully said. Yeah, I really believe, I've been the wealthier of wealth. I've been the poorer of poor. The ultimate wealth is the mindset, relaxation, that on a day-to-day basis with all the trials and tribulations and everything that's going on in the world, you've given Superman a whole different outlook for me. I will never look at Superman the same again, ever. You know, because the ultimate wealth is exactly what you described.
Well, let me address that. Just 2 days ago on the internet, on the news, Jim Koch, a man named Jim Koch, who is the founder of Boston Beer. He founded it in his 20s, and he's a billionaire today. And he was quoted as saying, "You'd have to be you'd have to be crazy to want to be rich." He's a billionaire, more than being happy.
Wow.
And happiness is a skill. It's something to learn.
It is, and you have to practice it every single day. And I am a proven testament of that. I'm very transparent. I let people know I have things going on in my life just like everybody else does. I choose happiness. I choose what's going to control my days, and I can totally control who I share time with. So how excited am I that you're here with me? Because I always want to hang out with the people that I feel that are better than I am. In a way, not so much better like materialistic wise, or just more experienced in the world, more cultured, more that they have, I don't know, maybe have more experience than I do.
Lyn-Dee, and there's an even more evolved way to look at that, and that is every single person that you meet in your life is both in some way inferior to you and superior to you. So we can learn from everybody.
Isn't that fabulous? And the inner circle holds everything, as long as it's a mindset of, there's got to be a common ground of mindset. In my inner circle, as long as we have an inner circle where the outcome is happiness, we're not going to use the excuses, or we're not going to use any of the negative stuff to hold us back, that we're going to grow from that. Those are the people that I cherish in my life today, because I've had the negative in my past. I never let them weigh me down, though. That was the whole kit and caboodle, When I say Holy McGillicuddy, there's a lot of Holy McGillicuddies in my life and in my past. But what I've done is I've used them as stepping stones. Instead of them crushing me, I use them to climb. Instead of go, oh my God, it just hit me in the head. It sure did. It gave me one hard Kanakis, but it didn't stop me. It allowed me to think clearly of how should I have missed that? Or was I supposed to get hit on the head with it? That's the beauty of it. The other thing that I found so delicious about you is that you were so authentic. When you talk about your heart was lifted out of your chest, that you could literally feel it. You know who that sounds like, don't you?
Yeah.
The Scrooge. And you've learned the true meaning of how I feel is that you had an out-of-body experience, and you were able to look around and go, wow, that was wrong. I got to fix this. For you.
That's profoundly true. Yeah.
And here's the gift. You didn't have to say or apologize. All you had to do was give the act of apology. It's way more powerful. I know that you've had people in your past that you have had to give up relationships with.
Haven't we all?
We have.
Sure.
But here's the quality about you, Richard, is that you stepped forward and you said, my part in it was.
Oh, absolutely. One
That's one of the biggest things of affected happiness.
One of the keys to living an empowered life
Yes.
is to not be reactive. So many of us, and myself for most of my life, was very reactive. We have to respond to life, right? And that requires being 100% responsible for everything. Well, when I say that, people frequently say to me, well, I can't help it that, my partner did this.
Right.
You have to take 100% responsibility for everything, for the marriage, for the business, for everything, for your life. 100% responsibility for your life means that you create the life that you want. Right. It's such an empowering way to look at it. And all it requires is changing the inner game.
Yeah.
You were talking about authenticity earlier. And to me, one of the keys to happiness is become kind and generous, to become a giving person. And one of the greatest things that we can give to the world is our authentic self. That's why I reflected so much on our road trip. And I saw the quality that you have to light up the world comes from you just willing to share. Yeah. And that's true of everybody. Sharing your authentic self, unencumbered by the goop, the good opinion of other people. It's such a powerful way of being and of living. So.
Wow. I can't believe our time is almost up. Would you like to share with the audience, first of all, how to get in touch with you? Because there's somebody out there that you just literally, they're smiling right now. They're like, I can relate to this gentleman. I wonder if he'll give me some time just to talk to me. Is there a way that our audience could get in touch with you, Richard?
Yes,
because
I'd be happy to do that. The best method is through my email, and it's Richard Hunnewell untitled.chapter@gmail.com. And in fact, if anybody feels inclined to write to me, I have compiled a list of what I call Richard's 12 steps to getting increased happiness into one's life.
Wow.
And I'd be happy to share that with anybody that
Give me
feels.
some of those tips.
Well, to me, the most important is cultivate an attitude of gratitude. That is so important, because what it does is it transforms us from a attitude of lack to an attitude of abundance. This is an abundant world.
Right. Oh, and your significant other is just a lovely, lovely angel who I absolutely adore. And when I had the opportunity to meet her, I felt like I was touched by an angel. You know, look what you attracted into your life, all because of the change. From how you described yourself in the past, there's no way that you would have been able to get a Marie.
This is profoundly true. If we change who we choose to be
Yes.
inside in the inner game, what happens quite miraculously is we attract back into our life a whole new different set of circumstances, people, and opportunities. That's why I say, win the inner game first,
Right.
and then it's almost impossible to not succeed if you've mastered the inner game.
It's true. And don't take life so seriously.
Absolutely.
Oh, my goodness.
Absolutely. Don't sweat the small stuff.
Don't sweat the
And
small
everything is
stuffs.
small stuff.
And when the big stuff comes your way, do what you can in your control. And then when it can't, just don't allow anything to control you. I want to give you something, and it's from my
Please.
heart to yours. Richard, I give these out all over the world. And what these are is literally, and I'm going to give you one for Marie because she has to have one. But I give these out all over the world, and what they are is just, how when you like to, when you're thinking and you're a little bit of stress and you like to fiddle-faddle, it's to help you fiddle-faddle, but to bring some light into it.
Oh,
So from my
thank you.
heart
And
to
it
yours.
also is an anchor. It reminds me when I see it immediately of the importance of love.
Thank
Right?
you.
We come from a place of love, a place of peace, joy, gratitude, and light. It attracts beautiful things into our lives. So
ultimate
thank you.
wealth
That will anchor me to that
Is
awareness.
joy and happiness. Ladies and gentlemen, I cannot believe the 30 minutes is up already. I am just so full of joy and happiness. Rich, I can spend some more time with me?
I would love to.
I can't
I'd
wait.
love to go on another road trip with
I
you.
like that. I like that. So with that, everybody, take care, take charge. I never said life was easy, but I did say we could be happier. Take care.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.